Peter and I are continuing our conversation at a manor house that was first built in 1909, but then the husband and wife had a little bit of problem. The husband went on the spree a little bit, and the wife was so angry that she bulldozed the house. Obviously didn't want any memories of that man left.
And it wasn't a shopping spree either.
Yes. So after that, she rebuilt this beautiful manor house with this gorgeous wood and fireplaces and glass in 1923. And Peter and I have just been exploring and trying to find secret passages and feeling totally legit in our historical locale.
Yes.
The history writers.
Yes. We used our credentials to get in.
Yes, and it was just so easy. Oh, Peter Leavell, yes,
Yeah,
please
totally.
come.
You publicize her. Whatever.
So, Peter, I have heard that you actually visited the location of Gideon's Call. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that?
When I decided to write Gideon's Call, I read the book about what happened in South Carolina, and it so struck my imagination I had to go write about it first. And then as I wrote about it, I really needed to feel what it was like to live there. The air, the trees, the birds, and see it all, the ocean in South Carolina. So before I had published, before there was any promise of a contract, I packed up my family. We live in Boise, Idaho, and we flew from Boise to Seattle, and then an all-nighter from Seattle to Orlando, and we drove up to South Carolina. And we spent the most glorious time of our lives just walking the grounds where we read all these books, and we actually saw what they saw. And it really breathed life into the novel.
And for me, I was able to go to London. I actually did a 19-day trip to England, Scotland, and Wales. And about, I think chapter 4 or 5, something like that, Bianca actually goes to the British Museum, and that's where she meets the hero the first time. And going into the King's Library, where I wrote that, where I had them stand, was definitely one of those moments where, things just shift, and I'm here, and
It's almost like an aha moment. This is it. This is set in stone. This really happened, even though it's fiction.
Yeah, you just know that, the characters become so real, as you know, and I don't know, do you ever have moments where fiction and reality blend?
All the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
Yeah, I do too, and, it's the theater of the mind, it's ultimately our imagination, but I've definitely had experiences where I've been in a historic hotel and I can just almost see Paul walking through the doors with his leather satchel, or Bianca standing somewhere.
And then going on location gives you a very good idea of what you have missed in your books. Like, for example, coming to location here, the chair, I sit down, and there's a little protrusion in my back. And I took a look, and it's an apple to remind us how sinful we are. And I'm always going to be uncomfortable sitting in this chair because of sin. Well, that's a great little addition I can add to any novel I write.
Yeah.
Just lock it away back in the back of my mind.
Very interesting fact. For sure. Well, if time travel were possible, where would you go?
That's a really good question. I would probably go back to a time and place where the first day I would get a disease and die right away. So, right now I would choose Rome.
Because you're researching and working on your Roman novel, which sounds so exciting. Yeah.
In the 1920s.
Yeah.
Would be a nice place to live.
So much fun. Yeah, for me, it's where wouldn't I go? I'd like to experience every little bit, every little piece and place.
Do you think there will be a Netflix in the sky where we could
Well, there has to
watch
be,
everything
absolutely.
that ever happened?
There has to be.
Oh,
Yeah. And
my
then,
eternity just got back.
yeah, and then, go and experience. Since there's that whole, time, just being bent and 1,000 years is a day thing. So I'm sure that'll be hooked up for
Cool.
people like you and I.
Cool.
Definitely. So what about if you could have lunch with a character from history, or tea or coffee or something?
Theodore Roosevelt.
Roosevelt, that would be so much fun, absolutely.
He's here.
Yeah, and I kind of have the same question, who wouldn't I,
That's true.
Yeah, I mean,
That's true.
Queen Victoria obviously would be fun, although I think she can be pretty prudish in some of her moments. But the Victorian time period, just lots of people from there, or Queen Elizabeth, or
No, you have to pick one.
yeah.
Go ahead, pick one.
I can't pick one. That's too hard. I mean,
Alright.
what about Winston Churchill? How fun would that be?
You would be completely drunk.
Yeah,
by the time.
probably.
Even if you don't drink, the fumes.
And the cigars,
Yeah,
so I
exactly.
wouldn't be able to take it. My
Exactly.
allergies will start acting up. And
Slap you on the back. Come on, breathe.
yeah, totally have to get out of here. Well, I read on Peter's website that he took some biblical archaeology in his studies, and he was so fascinated with that. And I originally wanted to be an archaeologist, and was so just fascinated with that world, and still am. I love archaeology. So I've prepared a report for you, actually. These are some of the most recent archaeological finds
Ooh.
in the biblical world. So we have Crusader seals and things from Caesarea and all manner of interestingness just for you
Thank you.
while you're doing your amazing road trip book signing in the downtimes.
I'll probably read it right now. Hang on. This is
You all
cool.
have to wait. Peter has to read about archaeology.
I actually decided to go into archaeology as a youth, and I started taking classes, and it was so, the teacher would take a bucket full of trash and just pour it out on the table and said, tell us how these people live. And I loved doing that, but they refused to look at written word as archaeological fact. All you can do is look at the artifacts, and the written word is completely useless. But I felt like the written word had some merit, and so that's why I broke away from archaeology and started going into history.
Absolutely. And you know what frustrates me so much about biblical archaeology is it seems like 9 out of 10 of biblical archaeologists only want to disprove the Bible. And that frustrates me so bad. The evidence can be right there, but no.
And if you look at it right, all this evidence from biblical archaeology doesn't prove the Bible. The Bible doesn't prove, and it just illuminates and illustrates what we already know. And they will never find anything to disprove the Bible. We know that. Just getting them to understand that is the problem.
Right. Well, I have had so much fun with Peter today and chatting it up about multiple things. So, as a parting gift, I have something special here for you. This is a general history book from 1893. It is by P.V.N. Myers of Cincinnati, a professor, and this was the text for college and high school. So I would like to give this to you, and also in here there is a lovely excuse slip from class for one of the
That came
students.
from the book. Oh, that is
Yes.
amazing. And you can actually read the writing on it
Yes.
nowadays.
Yes.
That's cool. Thank you.
From one history lover to another.
That is beautiful.
Thank you for your time. I've had so much fun talking with you.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. And everyone watch Peter's website for all of his interesting and upcoming fabulous releases.
Thanks.